guys, and welcome to Just Another Nerdy Podcast. I'm Jay. I'm alone today. I'm the only one I may have been the only one who watched Venom last night. I'm pretty sure I am because no one else showed up. Tommy's probably going to be watching it this weekend, and Dritz will be watching it on another time, maybe. I don't know. I don't know when Dritz is going to go, if he's going to go. But anyways, we'll talk more about Venom on the podcast, but today I just wanted to do an initial reaction review watching it last night to talk about whether or not you should go see it. So just to kind of get a few things out of the way, first of all, this is Just Another Nerdy Podcast. You can catch us on iTunes, Twitter, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Play. You can catch us on Twitter. You can catch video clips on Twitter. You can also catch video clips on Facebook. So check us out there. But yeah, this is my movie review of Venom, and I'm going to be uploading this on YouTube later as well. But you can watch us live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central here on twitch.tv/Just Another Nerdy Podcast. Also, I'm going to try and incorporate movie reviews for exciting movies that I may watch. So keep an eye out on that on Fridays for that, whatnot. Anyways, Venom. Venom is a movie starring Tom Hardy from the Sony Spider-Man universe, based around the Spider-Man villain Venom. Tom Hardy plays both Venom and Eddie Brock. Venom is a symbiote clearly attached to Eddie Brock. Eddie is living in San Francisco, moving from New York after many failures of being a reporter. So now he's trying his hand and becoming very successful in San Francisco, but all goes awry after he interviews a scumbag billionaire, Elon Musk, the guy from Facebook, whose name I can't remember right now. Yeah, that prototype of guy who is a billionaire who goes into science and research and blah, 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 but has nefarious plans in the background. Maybe not like the actual scientists of our day, but still. And after he goes and interviews this guy, everything goes wrong. He becomes a loser in life. His girlfriend leaves him. He loses his job. And thus, he is then eventually brought back to the evil billionaire's place to investigate the whole symbiote thing that's going on in the background, and that's where he picks up Venom and everything goes awry. This movie, no spoilers, is pretty funny. I found it kind of enjoyable. However, I was not... So if I were to give you a general review of this movie, I would say it is a lot of fun. Tom Hardy's performance as both Venom and Eddie Brock are amazing and fantastic. If you feel like dropping a comment in here, do it now. I just got my chat window up. Sorry. But anyways, it's amazing and it's fantastic. The movie itself, the graphics, the design, 80% amazing. However, after that, the movie itself lacks focus and it lacks direction. Those are my biggest problems with this movie. It lacks focus, and it lacks direction. There are a lot of unnecessary characters in this movie, and some of the design is not great. Time is another issue in this movie. Time is spent too much focusing on certain things and not focusing enough on others. Here's the thing. Your two breakout characters in this are, of course, Eddie Brock, but Venom. Venom himself is a character. There's a whole backstory that's just laid out in exposition where things are going on and they just kind of brush over it with exposition that could be fleshing out Venom's character. Venom's character is fantastic. Tom Hardy just blows everything away with his performance as both characters. Venom is extremely entertaining. Venom could be a compelling character, but they don't spend enough time on Venom. They actually spend too much time developing Tom Hardy's character, who doesn't matter. Tom Hardy's character matters, but everything around him doesn't really matter. You could really cut a lot out. He does not need a relationship. We don't need to know about his relationships. We don't need to know about his relationships, life and position and things. It just didn't matter. Live right now. Yes, I am live right now. So honestly, it was one of those things. I just did not care about everything they were throwing out there. They spent way too long developing Eddie Brock, and they spent not enough time developing Venom. That's the basic upside and downside. Eddie Brock, one of the things I highly appreciated was the idea that without Spider-Man, Eddie Brock in the Spider-Man comics is kind of a bully. He's kind of an asshole. They took out the bully thing, but they left him as sort of an asshole when it comes to being a reporter, so that was entertaining. The main villain in this looked like shit when it came to, like, Venom's design was fantastic. All of Venom's work was amazing. And then when they brought the villain in, it looked like N64 Venom. It was horrible, like polygonal, ugly shapes. It was really, really shitty design. Two better antagonists for this immediately. Spider-Man. Why don't we see a movie where Spider-Man's the villain? Huh? Wouldn't that be amazing? Or Venom himself. Venom could have been the villain instead of spending all this time trying to develop the main antagonist, who I can't even remember his friggin' name. He himself is a symbiote carrier. Also another big thing, a lot of the things that you see set up in the trailer, a lot of people expected a lot of symbiotes. Don't get too excited. It's Venom. It's the other bad guy. The other bad guy, just not interesting. Honestly, just not interesting. I would have rather him been, is it like a MacGuffin where you don't, I don't know. This was an okay movie with a lot of promise, just not very good. I saw an article this morning that were like, the producers confirmed that Kevin Feige had nothing to do with Venom. And I'm like, no shit. After watching it, like, no shit. Ant-Man's a better movie than this. It's a good movie. It is by no means a garbage fire of a movie. It's just like it lacks focus and time in the proper things. Like, you have to put the proper time and focus into the right things. And Venom was completely brushed over. Venom was a cool character. They spent a lot of time on his CG. They spent a lot of time in the action sequences. My other major beef with this movie is the fact that everything that you see in this movie is basically has been released as a clip, like a special feature clip, or it was released in the trailers. Like, there's only one minor surprise, and it's the very, very, very end credit scene, which if you just want to see Venom related end credits, watch to the middle. If you want to see an end credit that has to do with Into the Spider-Verse, go to the very end. That is also fantastic. Into the Spider-Verse is really, really exciting, and this clip got me even more pumped for it, which I didn't think I could be. This movie, however, yeah, it was exactly what I expected it to be. Keep your expectations extremely low. Okay, so for those of you who do not want spoilers, this is the end of the video for you. Just leave it here. I'm totally fine with that. Go watch the movie and come back, okay? If you do not want spoilers, but I am switching over to the spoiler portion of the review here. And so we are going to make this go away, and we're going to make this pop up. Spoiler section, everybody. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute or so, or a few. Okay. Right, okay, spoilers. Oh, I'm getting emails. Okay. So they spend a lot of, so how about we talk about like the exciting things about this. First of all, you get to see a female Venom, which was dope as shit. Only 2 seconds worth, but still really, really cool. Second of all, that end credit sequence where they reveal Carnage. Fuck yes. Really just Cletus Cassidy, which is played by Woody Harrelson, which is what everybody was hoping for, and is true. So 100% score, bitches. Score! That was really cool. The way that they did it was cool. The way that he said it at the end was a little too on the nose, but fit the corniness of the movie, where he just kind of looks in the camera and he's like, I promise you, if I get out of prison, there will be carnage. That was kind of cool. Outside of that, I don't know. It's a good movie, though. So the whole structure, like I said before, I don't know if it was really a spoiler. I don't think it is. Everything in the trailers is the whole movie. So the symbiotes are in space on a comet. There's apparently millions of them, and the evil billionaire man sends a rocket to the comet, collects a few sample symbiotes to bring back. Now you're expecting this to be like the 5 symbiotes. There's like Scream, Banshee, blah blah blah. I don't know. It only one's like the symbiotes keep dying because they can't fuse with the hosts properly. They have to have the right host to be able to fuse with. So Eddie Brock is apparently the right host, and then the main antagonist, billionaire bad guy, is the right host as well for 2 of them. Personally, I think either writing a movie where Venom would be the bad guy and taking out all that shit with the antagonist would have been a lot better. Or writing a film where Spider-Man's the bad guy would have been a lot more interesting and more of a risk-taking. Here's the thing. We live in an era now where like Stanley Kubrick is going to be making a Joker movie that has nothing to do with any of the DC movies. We could take a risk with Venom and just have it not have anything to do with the Spider-Man movie. You don't have to tie it in to the Spider-Man movie. Or you can later. You can just write some bullshit in. That's what Spider-Man does. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's all the bullshit right there. Spider-Verse. So you don't have to stick with canon and all that bullshit. Same thing with like rated R. This idea that this movie was trying really hard to be PG-13, but still like you could tell it was originally written to be R-rated. We live in an era where R-rated is this new risk that we all want to take, and I think that's what they were going for. Logan, Deadpool, all that. But then they're playing it safe because they want to merge it with Spider-Man at some point. I think I heard or read an article on that, which, you know, playing it safe never pays off. Hardly ever. And that was the biggest problem here, was they were definitely trying to play it safe. Rather than play it safe, because we're coming to the era where we're going to need to be able to merge. Deadpool is coming to the Disney MCU, and people want that merger, and that's the next risk. Like, if you wanted to be the pioneer for that next risk, that would have been the moment right there. Venom, Sony trying to build this entire universe. That's what you could have done, Sony. You missed out. Sorry, that's just my opinion. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I don't know. Venom, though. Oh, man, like, that's the thing. And the end bad guy looked like shit. His animation and his style, he looked like a pit bull. It was really freaking stupid. How they animated him. They spent so much time on all these Venom action sequences. When it came to the end with the bad guy, he looked awful. The scenes where he's fighting Venom and you can't really see his face, that looked cool, but the actual design of his face was horrible. Like, it looked like an N64 character. So yeah, I'm gonna just say that was kind of a shitty design, but oh well. Hopefully, I don't know. So they spent all this time on this convoluted plot. Also, Eddie Brock, the thing that he did that was so wrong at the beginning of the movie that made him kind of ruin his life, totally was not his fault. So basically, essentially what happens is he gets put in charge by his boss to interview this guy, but just about his space program. He's like, do not interview him about anything else. And Eddie's like, this guy's an evil warlord. Like, we have to call this guy out on his shit. And the boss is like, no. A letter to his boss, which is played by the guy from This Is Us, who plays the dad with cancer. A letter to the boss. Don't be a dumbass. Don't take your most antagonistic reporter and put him on your most sensitive interview. That was your fault. He calls Eddie a dumbass. I'm like, you're the fucking stupid one. You know Eddie can't control himself. He has a high reputation for it. He got kicked out of New York for it. He's been on the line for a very long time. That's actually what he's famous for. It's like Alex Jones. Like, don't ask Alex Jones to do a legit interview without coming up with crazy ass conspiracy theories and going fucking nuts in the middle of the interview. Your dumbass fault. He's like, I fire you, Eddie, because I don't trust you anymore. You're an idiot. You should have expected this. Anyways, what happens though is his girlfriend is a lawyer who is reviewing the case of the guy that he's about to interview, and she's defending him. What? Doesn't anybody understand conflict of interest here? The boss, the girlfriend should understand that she shouldn't leave her work computer just sitting out when he knows the password. So she gets pissed because he actually looks up and finds details. And so when he actually goes to the guy and calls him on his shit, he has details from his girlfriend's computer. So his girlfriend gets fired. His fiance, they're about to get married. His fiance gets fired. He gets fired. And Eddie's life goes to ruins. She breaks up with him. She's like, you're an asshole, which that was kind of a dick move. But again, you're the idiot. You knew there was a conflict of interest. They openly talk about their conflict of interest at their date where he finds out he's in charge to interview that guy. And she says, what are you going to do? And he says, I'm going to grill his ass. I'm going to do my job. So she fucking knows that this is a bad idea. And she just leaves her work computer out. Fuck you. That's all I can say. I'm sorry. That was one thing that really perturbed me. This idea that, and I really like this moment where he comes back to her and she's dating another guy and she's like, what are you even doing here? And he says, I miss you. I love you. He goes, we were about to get married. He goes, are we ever going to come back to that? Some of Tom Hardy's Tom Hardy can just bring it. And she just kind of looks at him and goes no, we're never coming back. This is over. And she goes, this is your fault, Eddie. This is all your fault. And I just wanted to scream and say, no, you're a dumb bitch. His boss is a dumb asshole. She's like, it's not your boss. It's not your company. It's not me. No, it is. It really is. Everyone knew this was going to happen. Eddie is an asshole, but he's an asshole trying to do the right thing. He's like, I'm calling out this evil billionaire. He's a famous reporter, famous for calling people on their shit and digging up the dirt. And they sent him on a simple rocket interview. You have to have 100 other people. Who's available for this? Fuck you guys. I don't know. So Eddie, life in shambles, comes down the road. The scientist lady who finally pronounces symbiote correctly, thank you very much for fixing that audio, comes to Eddie because she feels morally obligated to do something about it. Eddie says, okay. He's like, no, I don't really want anything to do with it. My life sucks. And then he goes and he visits his girlfriend. She's like, this is all your fault. And he's like, okay. So then he looks out, realizes it's the right thing to do, goes after it. Meanwhile, a friend of Eddie's, who's a homeless lady, disappears. Eddie doesn't, you can see he kind of notices, but there's a correlation line where she's like, hey, he's taking homeless people off the streets. I'm gonna go find out what's going on there. Apparently I left the microphone on. That's super cool. Anyways, okay, now that we're back, sorry, had to take care of a little business there. So one of the things that I really did not like about this movie was the underdevelopment of Venom. Best example is the fact that most of his story is laid out in exposition. Venom says towards the end about something about how he doesn't care about the world, and at the end he's like, now I do care. I kind of like this place, and I need to stop all of these symbiotes from coming and eating the millions and millions of people, because what happens is when the symbiotes like attach to someone, they basically eat out their organs from the inside and kill them off. The same thing is kind of happening to Eddie Brock, and then him and Venom kind of have a heart-to-heart, and Venom decides to stop eating him, but he has to eat other people. He has to bite their heads off a lot. And he also craves real food too, because there's a point where he asks him, he's like, what are you hungry for? And he's like, chocolate. Which is just weird. But at the end, he's like, oh, I changed my mind. And then Venom's like, cut the shit. Or Eddie Brock's like, cut the shit. What changed your mind? And he's like, you, Eddie. There is no point where that is revealed in an effective manner. Here's the thing. Cut out all the bullshit with the girlfriend. Cut out like half of the bullshit with the bad guy and the lady who has the moral dilemma. Cut the bullshit and flesh out some of the Venom inner conflict as a character. Like, develop Venom as a character. Have him be the character that just doesn't give a shit about life. Make this rated R. Show how much he doesn't care about life. That would have pleased a lot of people. And then show Eddie being able to persuade him in what is beautiful about life, and then respects it. I don't know. Those are my big gripes with the movie. I highly, if I were to say to watch this movie on a scale of like rent, buy, pay for the movie, or just wait for it to show up on Netflix, I'm going to say rent it. If you're a Marvel fan, rent this movie. Who is this movie for? This is another thing. I think all movies are for someone, no matter how bad they are. This movie is for your classic Marvel fan, but not your overly critical Marvel fan. If you think you need Logan level like depth to a movie, don't watch this movie. This movie's not for you. But if you're just in it to watch any Marvel movie, like me, watch it. Give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. Tom Hardy's performance is fantastic. This movie will make you laugh. There's a lot of awkward comedy to this movie, and I would say that it is more of a buddy comedy than it is anything in depth. Check it out. The reveals in the end are fantastic. The movie is fantastic. So do yourself a favor and go and see Venom. That's my review, guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.